What's up, fam? I'm Milton from TeamFFLEX. You're on my show. I run every Monday for you. We talk about everything nutrition. This is called Protein Power. Today, I want to dive into getting contest ready and why some competitors can get so lean for one, maybe two competitions, and then they struggle for all the rest. And if you're one of those competitors out there, I'm going to tell you exactly the mistakes you've been making that's caused that problem. And if you haven't had this problem yet, this will be a good saving grace for anybody who's going to compete. I'll save you all the trouble. I'll save you all the problems. I'll save you that struggle. All right? So do me a favor. When you watch this video, subscribe to this channel and then share out the video for all your competing friends. This is just one of 5 awesome shows I run all week for you. Thank you for watching. I'm Milton from TeamFFLEX. This is Protein Power. As most of you know, I've been a competition coach for a very long time. We've coached literally hundreds and thousands of different competitors for all types of different competitions, events around the world, different divisions and everything else. And I'm also pretty active on the influencer side of things where, you know, I'm giving out free content, I'm doing stuff like this, I'm giving you guys stuff, and you're not even training with me, right? My Instagram's pumping with this stuff all day, every day. And with that, I get a lot of questions, I get a lot of DMs, a lot of, emails, people asking me different stuff, people working with other coaches, people training for themselves, whatever it is. Hey, what's going on with this? Help me with that. Can you tell me a little bit more about this? What do you think of this? I get it all the time. One question I've got all the time that I've literally probably not even touched on this channel, although I have in various other ways, is, hey, I got really stage lean, and then here's an example of my stage shot. Look at this. This was a great show for me. I did really well. It was my first competition. Second one, I did all the same stuff, and it was not as good. Still pretty good, but not as good. Third one, I did all the same stuff. Nothing really good at all happened. I was not ready. I couldn't even get ready for the show, and so on and so forth, right? And I've heard this from so many competitors over the years. It's actually crazy. And I'm talking about it today on Protein Power because it actually does come down to the nutritional practice to get to that point. And it's something a lot of competitors do. It's something a lot of coaches unfortunately tell competitors to do. And it is something that we need to get out of this system. We need to get it out of the mix of bodybuilding and the sport in general because it just does not serve athletes in the longevity. So let's talk about it. Right out the gate, any of you that ever compete before, you know what I'm saying. You know this is true. If you've done this type of practice, you know that, hey, it gets harder and harder every time to hit your stage, body composition, hit your stage, whatever target, how you need to look. It gets harder. And a lot of people think that that's just the process. A lot of coaches falsely tell clients that it's just the process, it's just the way it is, it's just the way it's going to be. Well, no, it's actually not. It comes from doing a bad coaching process, okay? So basically, let me give it for you here as simple as I can. You said you were on prep, okay? You hit your coach up, you hire a coach, whatever it was. You're like, hey, I got a show in 12 weeks. I got a show in 16 weeks I want to hit. Let's get going. I've never competed before, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Coach says, great. Bad coach right here. Gives you a generic program, junk meal plan, something they give everybody that says they want to compete bikini, everybody that says they want to do men's physique, one training program, one meal plan. They usually send it to you in email and they say we're going to do check-ins and you never hear from them. Okay, this type of stuff happens. Even if you do hear from them, even if they're actively coaching you, they oftentimes, with whatever meal plan or whatever macro plan they give you, crash diet you. Okay, literally, this is what happens so often because so many competitors are very concerned about being lean. Okay, they're very concerned about it. I'd say it's the #1 concern of everyone who's ever compete ever that I've heard. Oh, am I going to be lean enough? I'm worried about being lean. I hear this still myself all the time, and I have to talk people off the ledge every day. But that's one thing competitors are very concerned about, and coaches are also very concerned about it for another reason. They want their people to win so they can post them, they can talk about them, they can try to sell more people into these same generic plans and things like that. And unfortunately, what happens is you get put on a crash diet. diet. Bikini competitors, I'm talking about you that, you're on 500 calories, you're on 600 calories, you're on 800 calories a day, even 1,000, where you're doing, an hour of weights or 2 hours of weights and an hour of cardio in the morning, hour of cardio in the evening, fasted this and that, taking every supplement under the sun. You know who you are. And that's unfortunately a very common practice. It's something that coaches tell you is the way it is, and coaches for some reason promote that. And that's just never clicked to me. I'm talking to you guys out there that, you've trained for a long time and now you want to do your men's physique show, your classic physique show. Coach cuts you down to 1,500 calories, basically feeding you like, you're a hamster or something like that, telling you to do all the same stuff. Go train really hard, really heavy. I want you to put in intensity here 2 hours. I want to see you do some fast, it's crazy. And basically what happens is all these competitors end up netting basically 0 calories, negative calories. They're in a bad spot. And I did a video last week where we talked about a lot of contest prep diet mistakes and things like that. And this is one of them. But this is also why competitors can end up at a show, for the very first show, super lean. They feel like they're in a good spot. Visibly they look good, right? They visibly look like they're lean. They look like they're at the right conditioning. A lot of times they win their shows. But internally, that person has been beating themselves down for the past 12, 16 weeks. They've been starving. They've been having hunger problems. They've been having, potentially these healthy eating disorders and things I talk about where people have such a hard time eating anything off their plan or understanding that. And that goes for a long time. Not to mention metabolic issues, hormone issues, all this. Internally, they are a mess. But externally, they look good enough to win their show, and they're in a good spot. They're lean. Maybe the coach did well enough with the generic plan once. That works all the time. Okay, the generic approach, the meal plan, the generic workout program, if for somebody who's getting off the couch, somebody who's just been casually training in the gym for fun. Now they want to compete. Yeah, it will get you. It'll get you to a show. It'll get you to a first show, your novice class, your whatever. But it doesn't go down the road. You can't keep doing this approach, and this is why you see a lot of athletes end up in very bad spots after different shows. They rebound a ton of weight and they're sitting in a bad spot and they can't regain control. Some people literally do develop these healthy eating disorders where literally they can only eat chicken, broccoli, and tilapia, and they think that that's the only way to eat because if they eat anything else, they're going to have a problem, they're going to gain weight, blah, blah, blah. You guys know this stuff. The people with the metabolic problems, the hormone problems, you hear about it all the time. It's very common practice, unfortunately, and I don't believe it should be, and I don't condone it. I don't do that, by the way. Anyone watching, we do not do that type of approach on TeamFFLEX. Never been what we've done, but basically a lot of coaches can get lucky, right? They can give people plans, they get lucky results because competitors can always get lean once. Now you might say, why doesn't that carry on then? Why can't they just repeat that approach? Why can't they just continue to do it? And it's because of everything I've just said here. When you do it once, right, like I said, the generic approach, the lazy coaching approach, the bad coaching approach will work once. It'll work once, maybe twice. You can get into a spot where your body is receptive enough, you're in a healthy enough spot. Most of you out there that are going to come to a bodybuilding show, you're not literally just like, you've been obese your whole life and now you decide, hey, I'm going to show. Most of the time you have, maybe you were at one point overweight or something like that. You lost the weight. You started living a healthy lifestyle. You lived it for X amount of time and then you wanted to take it to the next level. Or maybe you've always been in good shape and then you just decided you want to compete, whatever. The point is, these types of people, they don't have to make dramatic, crazy shifts in their life and they're already in a pretty healthy, good spot, right? They probably already have good hormone profile going on from, training and dieting and eating the right way and focusing on sleep and water intake and all these things. Same with the nutrition, the metabolic rate, everything. These people are probably in a good spot. So they can take any approach and get good results once, right? Even a bad one. Unfortunately, it's, I don't want to say it, but it's true. You can. I've seen it a bunch. But you can't carry it on because basically what happens is when you do the damage from these bad coaching approaches, when you drop the calories too much, you do too much of the cardio, you train too much, you put yourself in a bad spot where you damage your metabolism, your hormones, and everything else. Now you deal with the effects. And unfortunately, I see so many coaches, they're constantly preaching all this other garbage about this. Coaches have come at me saying I'm wrong about this and it's not true. And there's no effect from doing a contest prep diet, even if you crash diet, even if you're overdoing it. Hey, look at the science, fam. Okay, if you don't want to listen to your coach right here, go look it up for yourself. There's all this science information out there about all this kind of stuff, metabolic practices, hormonal things, everything. It's all out there. Here's what the problem is. None of these coaches even know this. Like, literally, they have no education in this regard. They focus on bro science instead of real science, and that's why they want to argue it. That's why they want to say it, and I'm kind of calling them out here at this point, because in reality, it is the most detrimental thing to ever do as a competitor. And once you have done that, once you get into a bad coaching approach where you've done all those things I mentioned, the super low calories, the overdoing of the cardio, the too much training, no recovery, all that, all the bad variables that come into play that just kind of make this ball of chaos, yeah, you get to stage 1, so you have a very hard time getting there again. You have a very hard time ever getting that physique again. You have a very hard time getting in that spot again. And so any of you competitors that wonder that, it's because damage has been done to your body, basically, by doing a prep. And unfortunately, this is a regular part of what goes on in the coaching world, but it is not what it should be. It should not be a standard. It should not be the regular. There should be a more acceptable, a higher standard held for coaches and the way they coach, okay? For me, I've always come into the space as TeamFFLEX and all my coaches saying, you know what, we're going to do this differently. We're going to do this 100% custom. We're going to build everything. We're going to build it for each person. We're not going to do unsustainable things. We're not going to do things that hurt people's health. We're going to put people in the best spot to be their best competitor for the long term, because that's what it's really all about, right? It doesn't really suit the sport. It doesn't really suit coaches. It doesn't really suit athletes, especially, which is really what we're talking about here. If they say, hey, I want to be a bikini competitor, and they can do one show, they do great, and then they struggle to hit 3 more, and they never do good, and then they quit. That's not helpful. It's not helpful if somebody actually does enough damage to their body on a prep, which unfortunately this does happen, where they develop a serious health condition. They land in the hospital. I've been at shows where competitors passed out backstage right next to me, fall on the ground. ER takes them out, they got to go. I've talked to competitors that developed organ issues and other health problems. They'll have the rest of their life from doing types of contest prep approaches done by bad coaches, given to them by bad coaches, given to them by somebody they paid. It's actually crazy that this kind of stuff happens, okay? And so it does happen, and it shouldn't be the standard, but it does happen a lot. And what you got to do is you got to understand that in this sport of bodybuilding, your goal should never be able to, push everything as hard as you can, do whatever you can as hard as you can, and do it for one show. I know that contrary to a lot of the motivational quotes and the memes and what other people will tell you, it's not about the one show. The stage will always be there. And you should be able to step on that stage today, tomorrow, in 12 weeks, in a year, in 12 years. You should be able to do this the rest of your life if you want. However, you won't be able to do that if you choose the wrong approaches, you choose the wrong, methods, you choose the wrong coaches, unfortunately. And these types of things will happen to you where, guess what, you're in a spot now, you can't do it. You can't go compete. You're dealing with health problems, It's bodybuilding is supposed to be a lifestyle. It's supposed to make you better. It's supposed to make you better in every way, no matter what division you choose, whatever. Even if you're never going to compete, anyone out there working on themselves, lifting weights, trying to, self-improve, good for you. It's making you a better person, and I don't think anybody could contest that. When it gets to the point where bodybuilding starts to make you a worse person because you've damaged your body, right? You have damaged your health, you've damaged your mentality, you hate doing it, you don't want to do it anymore, All these things don't help you. They don't serve the athlete. They don't serve the coaches. They don't serve anything in the industry, in the sport of bodybuilding. What bodybuilding is and what it has always been touted and what I think has got lost over the years is that this should be a lifelong thing. You choose to live the bodybuilding lifestyle, which means you understand about longevity. You understand, hey, if I don't hit 12 weeks, it's cool. Let's push for 24. I'll do it later. People don't do that anymore. Now they do everything is all of it. It's pedal to the metal or nothing. If you feel like shit, the more like shit you feel, the better you're doing. This is the type of stuff coaches tell you, and it's garbage, okay? I want to tell you all out there, it's garbage. If you've been in a bad prep spot where this has happened to you and some of this stuff sounded very familiar, I'm so sorry that happened to you. If you're looking to compete and you haven't done it yet, make sure the number one thing you spend the most time on is vetting your coach. Figure out what they've done, figure out what they do, figure out, how other people have had experiences with them to help you figure out if that's going to be the right fit for you. And then make sure you don't ever land yourself in a spot where, you get into one of these areas and this type of stuff happens. Huge red flag for you if you sign up with a new coach, a new trainer, wherever out there, and your calories drop to near nothing. You're getting loaded up with cardio, you're getting loaded up with training. I mean, it happens so often, and it shouldn't. The way I do it, I'll tell you guys for reference. The way we do it on TeamFFLEX is basically somebody signs up, whether they're a competitor or a lifestyle client, whatever. They have a fat loss goal, a weight loss goal. I do as little as I possibly can while still getting the results. And what I mean by that is I drop their calories as little as I possibly can while still getting the results. I give them as little cardio as I possibly can while still getting the results. I give them as little time in the gym as I possibly can while still getting the results. And why? Because I know there's a threshold. There's a point where if you do too much, you can't really come back. You can't really fix it. You know, it's going to take time. You can't fix it. It's going to take time. You know, it's going to take more time. It's going to take more effort. We're going to have to go the other way for a while before we try to come back. You know, it's all a difficult game if you go too far over. And so I give people the best ability to, you know, get the best results with the least amount of things that are going to tax them or put them into a bad spot and whatsoever. And a lot of people would say, hey, you know what, dude? I don't even know what you're saying. I don't know what any of this means. Go back to the science. Go back to the science, ladies and gents, and you will learn a lot of stuff about it. But basically, at the end of the day, I'm telling you guys, stay away from the generic approach. Stay away from the quick approach. Put the red flags up and back out. Get your money back. Bail. Get out of there. If you get put on these crazy diets, these crazy cardio regimens, these crazy training, I know that a lot of people, their first instinct is, oh, I can handle it. I can do anything. I'm going to be great. Yeah, well, you'll be great once. You won't be great for the rest of the time. And the person that's great for the rest of the time understands the balance, the longevity, the sustainability of what they're doing and makes the most of it. And that's what I want to invite all of you to do. If anybody has any trouble with this, any hard time, if you've been in a spot where you've done a bad prep, if you're looking to do your first prep and you want to make the right decisions, you know, check out my free trial, okay? Go to TeamFFLEX.com right now. There's a free trial to pop up. You just put your email in. That's an instant invitation to our private coaching app where you're going to get a free coaching experience with me or one of my awesome coaches for the next 7 days. Totally free, no obligation. I'm not going to ask you for a card, nothing, no reason not to do this. If anything, you just get some more information. If you watch my YouTube, you might as well talk to me on the other side of the app and, you know, be able to ask some more specific questions and things like that. But basically, we guide you in the same experience we give all of our clients. The only people that have access to our private coaching app and our private coaching are people, guess what, that are our clients or people on the trial. So you have the opportunity to do this, and I strongly suggest it. Any of you out there interested in competing, period, you want to see a different approach, you want to get some new ideas, you want to learn some stuff, you want to correct maybe some bad prep experience you had, you want to make sure you're making the right choices moving into a future prep experience, well, go to my website, TeamFFLEX.com, subscribe to the free trial, and I will see you on the other side. Hopefully this video was helpful. If any of you compares out there, you know, you got anything out of this, do me a favor, all right? Subscribe to this channel first and then share the video for all your competing friends because it's likely more people need to see it if you got anything out of it. Thank you again for watching. I'll be back tomorrow for the Iron Palace. I'm Ryan Milton from TeamFFLEX. Coach Rye is out.